Hey everybody, I'm Brandon with Fold Up Games. Welcome to the program. Last time we got a tiling object up and running on its feet, and this is what it does. I swapped my graphic in the meantime, as I told you should, and I've got this little sandy looking guy. Hey, where are you going? Come back here. And I made the tiler object to have kind of the builder object to have kind of a half opaque white so I could see it moving. I like it. It's pretty. You should be at this stage. If you're not, go ahead and jump back to the next video and catch up with what we're doing. Okay, I told you that what we're going to do is move everything out of this alarm event into what's called a for loop, and that's going to be cool. A for loop, what it does is it says, starting at wherever you want it to, usually 0, starting at 0, as long as I have not gone past a certain number of iterations, run it again, run it again, run it again. That happens in the create event, and it happens, boom, automatically. Very cool. I kind of miss out on seeing the little tile run around, but that's okay. We're going to get rid of the alarm event. We're not going to need that anymore. Goodbye, alarm event. So we're going to write a for loop. It's for, and it goes parenthesis. We'll make up a variable. Variables are your friend. Remember, they answer all your problems. Usually people do this with one called I for integer. For I equals 0, we're starting out with a number. We have to give it something to start with. That's all that means. It's nothing secret. For I equals 0, semicolon, as long as I is less than, we don't know what's going to happen. We have to try it and find out. As long as it's less than 32, semicolon, go ahead and increase by whatever you'd like it to, usually by 1. I plus plus, or you could write plus equals 1. Or you could write plus equals 10 and count by tens if it makes sense. But usually your for loop is written exactly like that. It says, starting at 0, as long as you have not counted up to 32, go ahead and do it again. What's that mean? Well, we can now add some squiggly brackets. Squiggly brackets are going to run all the code here as one block every single iteration. So it'll go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to 32. Let's find out what we're going to make it do. We don't need the alarm event, but I don't like rewriting code. Let's go ahead and copy what the alarm was doing and paste it in. Ooh-hoo, ooh-hoo, yes, yes. So we start out with irandom equals 3, and then it, irandom 3, and it runs through. Technically, we don't really need that. We could just do it the one time in the loop, but it's fine either way. We'll just run it at the top of the loop, and we'll get rid of it there. We don't need it there. We don't need it there. Either way is fine. So at the start of the loop, it says direction equals irandom 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, picks out which direction to go, yada, 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 and it runs it. We don't need to trigger an alarm event. It will go automatically, instantaneously. Boom. And because I have my refresh button programmed in on my command object. Okay, come on. That's fun, isn't it? We'll see that the builder object is still out there. We can do something about him later on. We can make him delete himself. Okay, cool. Interesting. I don't think 32 is going to do it. And we just made a magic number again, didn't we? That's all right. That's all right. Make it work and then make it more efficient. First, make it work. 96. What's that look like? Okay. That looks like something, doesn't it? Isn't that cool? If you don't find that cool, you're on the wrong video. I find that delightful. I don't know why. Let's say we'll make up a variable and we will say how many iterations we want to do. Or we could say how many tiles there are. Because this tiler object, the builder object, is able to go back over itself, and it has that skip right there. It says if the place is empty. That means that sometimes we will not get 96 total tiles. It's just going to cross back over itself, okay? Just to prove it, let's write that. Let's write that. So we added some text in here to the command object, and it's just going to draw however many objects there are. It'll count them. There's 38. There's 49, 66, 47. You see how that varies so much? So it's not actually going to be running the loop based on the number of tiles that there are. It's going to try to run them over and over and over again 96 times, and then it'll come up with however many tiles there are. If it wound up going back and forth the whole time, you would just wind up with 2 tiles because it just goes back and forth and it never makes any more. So you'll see that varies quite a lot. Interesting. Interesting. Give yourself some data to work with as you're building games so that you can have something to respond to here instead of guesswork. Let the game draw the information. Some people like to use the command output window down here. I personally just like to write it on screen so I can see it there. Let's do it based on a goal number of how big we would like the maze to be. How's that sound for you? So we'll just make up, what are we going to do? We're going to make up a variable is what we're going to do. We always fix it with variables. I'll call it size. How about size? Size equals, let's say 64. We want our maze to be 64. Okay, that's not the number of iterations we need. We can let this thing go on forever, 999. So we'll let this guy count 9999999. So how do we stop it after we get 64 tiles? That's what we want to do. That's what we want to do. And what you do here is that we'll have a break, okay? And that's called if the instance number of O tile is, let's say, greater than or equal to. We always like to do greater than or equal to, because if you just said if it equals, well, what if it somehow glitched out and skipped it and it made it too big? It would count on forever. We don't want that. If it skipped over it would keep running this whole sequence for 999 times. So if the instance number, if we've got tiles that are greater than what we actually wanted, which is size, then what we can do is stop. We can stop our for loop with a break. It's just called break. That's how we make it stop. So we should get a maze that is 64. 64. Oh, oh ho ho. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Okay, okay, okay. Now we're making a game. Now we're having fun. This is why coding gets to be fun, because now we're playing. Now we're just having fun. What we can do now is say we could have a range. What if we wanted to have some little bit of variability in this? We didn't want it to be 64. We could say size equals, what do you want to do? We could do an irandom range, and it could be anywhere between 48 to 96. It's probably too big, but let's try it. An irandom range is an integer, a whole number. We don't want decimal numbers with a fractional number of tiles, do we? But when this starts, it's going to say anywhere between 48 to 96 is the goal. 65, 73, 65, 95, 64, 91. We really get some variations in the way that it builds, doesn't it? So you can imagine playing a game here, you have a long haul. Go and check out, I said it in the last one, but if you didn't already check out my game Dungeonesque on itch.io, you'll see I'm using this system to make it. I have some cool little twists in there that I'll talk about though. Interesting, interesting. Okay, so this is what we're doing on a for loop to make what we did last time happen instantaneously. Now, in the next step of the process, we might do this on the next video, I guess that would make sense. The next step of the process, we want to make our dungeon do some more stuff. We want to have some cleanup. We want to make walls for it. The other things that we can do is we can add some variations in how it behaves. That might be more of an advanced kind of a step. But for the minimum, what we can do is let it add some walls. And the builder object, because its job is to build, we're going to use the builder object for that. So after it gets finished making the maze, we'll say check all the way around. And if there's a blank space, make a wall and then delete yourself after your job is done. Very nice. This is fun. I hope you're having fun. If this is fun for you, if you don't mind, I sure would appreciate a thumbs up or a subscribe so you'll be caught up on the future episodes. And in the meantime, be awesome.